Welcome back. We'll be starting the newspaper reviews with The Nation. There's a big advertorial here. Federal Ministry of Works, renewed hope legacy road infrastructure projects. This is listing some of the projects that the federal government will be embarking on. Tinubu rallies governors on massive food production. President backs urgent, result-oriented agri plan. Federal government slashes CNG conversion cost by half. Surveillance operatives uncover all theft camps. What stories do we have in The Nation?
Okay, so I have the federal government slashes CNG conversion cost by half. The presidential initiative on compressed natural gas yesterday announced a 50% cut on the cost of conversion of petroleum-powered vehicles to gas. It said that it was part of federal government efforts to encourage popular shifts to more cost-effective and sustainable transportation system. With the discount, the conversion cost, which is 1.2 million, will be 600,000. The government is providing conversion kits to transporters at 50% discount, in addition to other incentives and initiatives aimed to ensuring seamless transition to CNG. Mr. Oluwagbemi said the government, in its efforts to reduce the cost of public transportation, is supporting the sector with the introduction of CNG buses and tricycles. That's the normal keke we see around. So he said in the next days, you witness these buses on the streets of Abuja, even as we also start to make conversion kits available at 50% discounts to transport sectors.
Okay,
so let's see how that pans out.
Yeah.
The president at the 142nd NEC meeting, usually he's not supposed to attend the NEC meeting because it's presided over by the vice president, but he was a guest at that meeting and he gave the governors, a mandate to revert to him within 7 days on how to achieve food sufficiency. So he has asked them, all governors, amid our rising costs, to embark on massive food production, and they should meet together with citizens to arrive on ways to achieve this. He was a guest, as I mentioned, at the NEC meeting, that's the National Executive Council meeting, National Economic Council meeting, and the mandate was on massive food production by state governments, and because they are in control of lands, is asking them to mark out, farming lands and enable farmers to quick farm and attend to our needs. Most of our food production, food prices cost is affected by importation, really.
Yeah.
Maize, all of that. So if we have each state focusing on their strength areas, it will be good.
Balance out each other.
We've been shouting tomato cost.
Yeah.
On Sunday, I had to go for an event in Ojo. And so I drove through the Yanoba market. And I remember going shopping in that market all my life in university. And when tomatoes is out of season, buying what they call the Ogbomosho tomatoes, or they call it Cotonou, is a watery one. I have a perfect way of cooking that tomato, that it will come out with good taste. And I've forgotten about it because our auntie here, we insist on the just tomato, which is usually out of season at this time. And so there are alternatives, but we are not seeing them. So if our governors are focusing on their strength areas, who have those alternatives, as opposed to, depending on only one side. I would have done a perfect jollof rice on salad day with that. So that's expensive.
All right, so stories.
I have surveillance security operatives. They said at the weekend they had uncovered oil bunkering camps and their perpetrators during routine patrols in Okoroba axis in the Nembe local government area of Bayelsa State. They said operatives were in the process of dismantling illegal operations. While doing that, they found evidence of firms' involvement. Now, this is where I think my English is lacking. Evidence of firms' involvement. I was expecting names of these firms, just firms' involvement. If people that speak better English could help me. Involvement in the theft of the nation's precious resources. They said the identity cards of employees of the firms involved in crude theft found at these sites raised serious incriminating evidence. I wish we could know this.
Some of these firms, maybe they're not ready to release
it
yet.
Well, the surveillance team destroyed 2 large boats loaded with crude oil and a fiber boat at 2 camps. They also they said they do this to prevent further illicit activities. They said the boats that they set ablaze could carry large quantities of oil and that was able to indicate to them the extent of the operation, that it shows that it's a large-scale operation that's been going on in that area. They said there's a notorious bunker whose operations are spread across the Bayelsa state in the creeks of Nembe, Brass in particular, and he's fully involved in theft. They say he owns several illegal bunkering camps and controls a vast transportation network that then transports illegal refined petroleum products to various parts of the state.
Wow.
And there's also another bunker too that, is notorious in this, that has many facilities. So this collaboration makes it hard for security operatives to be able to clamp down on these activities. As we know, a lot of people, many stakeholders have been complaining about the theft that's going on with that particular sector and how it's bleeding us of resources.
Yeah, resources.
So we hope with this investigation, finally we'll be able to name them and shame them. Stakeholders are also saying EFCC needs to do more policy-wise and also, work with banks to freeze their accounts and things like that, or else if they don't get enough punishment to match what they do, it will just keep on happening.
Yes, so I have an inside story. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has reiterated its plan to collaborate with industry stakeholders to fight exorbitant price hike in consumer goods and commodities. The FCCPC Acting Executive Vice Chairman Adamu Abdullahi disclosed this yesterday during a meeting with the National Association of Supermarket Operators of Nigeria, Retail Council of Nigeria, that was held in Lagos yesterday. And he said that the Commission was worried about the consumer abuses, which relates to price gouging, including shelf price and tail price not corresponding and lack of display of prices on the shelf. And he says, expressing regret, he said that the agency was worried about the issue of price gouging. You buy a product, you claim that because there's exchange rates, the exchange rate was high when you bought it, the product, you will not want to sell it at the old price that you bought it. And he says, we feel that it's fair if the government is trying to bring down the exchange rate. People should also play their part to supplement the efforts of the government. And he stated that. And he said, the concerns we have in retail business, especially in the formal sector, is the issue of price display on products. They had complained that a lot of supermarkets had taken off their price displays, and then you don't really know how much you're paying till you get to the counter. Some even have a different price, and when you get to the counter to make your payment, it's a different price. And so they are saying they are clamping down on some of those supermarkets who do that, and we all need to help one another. The only thing is, for small businesses like us that we sell online, by the time you finish your sales, you go back to buy, the prices change. People are going to the old pictures, go and pick that price and say that's how much you're selling. So we keep explaining that I've restocked and this is the new price. It's quite dicey at the moment.
Tough for business.
Yeah, it is. So let's move on to the Punch. Major headline: federal government rolls out 1 trillion palliative massive construction projects. 3.7 million families to get 540 billion naira grants. 155 billion for assorted foods. Others. Federal government to begin massive rail construction, CNG buses distribution in states, according to the FCT. NNPC to boost economy with $4 billion gas projects. Cholera, government eyes vaccine donations as cases hit 1,579. Blackmail can't stop new presidential jet approval. This is the Senate speaking. Federal government raises fresh 284 billion naira as T-bills debt hits 10 trillion. Probe begins as ex-Conga CEO allegedly jumps to death in Lagos apartment. States should negotiate minimum wage, according to Southern governors. Let's take a story and we'll do a short break.
So let me just take, because the story I took in The Nation is also that of the major headline in the Punch, and it's continuing. So he also announced a national construction and also support program for 100,000 families in each state. So we're looking at about, that's 100 times 36 states plus the FCT. And each of those 100,000 families will be getting 50,000 naira grants for 3 months. 155 billion to be disbursed for assorted foods, 540 billion for household grants, even as 36 states and the FCT will also get 10 billion naira allocation each for CNG buses. This 50,000 planned for 3.7 million families across 36 states and the FCT, and the 10 billion allocation for each for CNG buses in the 6 states and the FCT, as well as the 155 billion spending on assorted foods and are estimated to cost about 1 trillion naira. We know we suspended the former Minister for Humanitarian and whatever affairs.
Yes.
Better I do on suspicion of some form of corruption. So I think by now we should be querying this method of alleviating poverty. This method of sharing. Of alleviating poverty because of the way it can be taken advantage of.
We can query it, but many Nigerians actually prefer it. We've had conversations on it, and we say Nigerians want to see you hand it over to them instead of putting it towards infrastructure.
Yes, that would be beneficial to them. But we have to do a breather here. When we come back, the newspaper reviews continue. Stay with us.
It's okay.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.